Hi, it's great to be here. It is Halloween. It is Tuesday, October 31st, and this is a Stamping to Share video. Thank you for joining me. I already see Mary Ellen is here from Montana. Thank you so much, Mary Ellen, for being here. I am going to just fiddle a little bit with my screen as we get started. You can see I have the bundle pictured here, and it's just so much fun. So for those of you that are actually missing the live, maybe you peek in for just a second. If you want to join me tomorrow in YouTube at 10 a.m., I do a premiere, which is basically a replay of this Facebook Live as I put it up. And it's a great time to chit-chat with me over on YouTube if you missed today and just want to run over there tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Hello, Yvonne. It's good to be here. Thank you for sharing. And it is so super fun. Arlene is here. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started because this may be just a teeny bit longer of a video, but I don't know. I did do a little pre-stamping, pre-cutting, so maybe it won't be. I'm just not sure. But again, this is the bundle we're using. We have a few other tools we're also using. I am going to be using the Snowflake Sky embossing folder. You can find all of these products in our mini catalog. And so I want to share with you the host code because today is sort of the tip of the iceberg. We are on the last day of October and tomorrow is the beginning of November. So I want to share my host codes with you for those of you who are my customers and place regular orders with me. You know that when you purchase at least $50, you get a Happy Stamper token. That is regardless whether you have a host code or whether you don't. If you do have a host code though, and your order is at least 25, you get a set of paper perks from me. And if your order is 75, not only do you get the paper perks, the Happy Stamper token, but you also get my embellishment of the month that I share with my customers. So these are the codes for those of you that want to be in the know. We're pretty busy right now at the farm, and so I'm kind of running my head off. So I don't know if I'm going to have time to send this information out in a newsletter or not. If I do, it's going to be a short newsletter. So this is it for those of you that want to see it. All right, let's get on to the designer series paper we're using today, and it is called Joy of Christmas designer series paper, and it looks like this. So I'm just going to quickly go through it. It's probably one of the more beautiful kind of watercolor look papers that I've seen in a long time with gorgeous back sides as well. So we have kind of a pebble path wood grain background on this side. This is a checker background in shaded spruce, and then another wood grain background on the back side in pecan pie. We will be using this today in the card, the pecan pie side. We have like a winter berries sheet, and then this is the back side. Again, it's in pebbled path, and it's got some music notes, really nice for holiday cards in your background. We will definitely be using this paper, and as I look outside, I'm going to show you how to snow cover this paper. That is what my view looks like. We had about an inch of snow last night, and it's not melting very fast. So when I look out my window, it's snowy indeed. And this is the back side. And here is another kind of checked paper and more music notes on the back side. And another berry paper and a pretty shaded spruce on the back side. I did not say the color of this. I think it's real red. So this would be like a real red and maybe like a pebbled path on here. So, all right, so I'm going to set this aside and we are going to get started with this card. So let me show you what we're making. This is the card we're going to make. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh my gosh, you guys are loving it too. Thank you so much. And then this is the inside panel. I'm going to do this differently, so I'll share with you how I'm going to do that when we get to that point. But I love it. And I love how his little head has popped up just a little bit. So he's like kind of peeping around to see what's going on before he jumps into his tree hollow. And then we're also going to use the nested treat box to make a coordinating little gift package for the card. And I'm not sure if I'm going to put the ribbon on the one that I'm making, so I'll probably just show you this box. Why, Kay, would you not put the ribbon on your cute box? Well, I will put the ribbon on my box, let me assure you, but I don't think I want to do it today, and there's a reason for that. I'm actually using this wonderful ribbon on my swap cards this month. I don't think I have enough ribbon to wrap the box and use it on my swap cards, so I don't think I'm going to wrap the box. I need to get another roll of this iridescent white ribbon ordered. It's so beautiful, and I find myself grabbing it all the time. All right, so let me set all of this aside. I'll keep this one out because I'm going to be using this one. All right, let's see. Let me grab my things. All of the paper that's white is our thick basic white. And even the stamped images are on thick basic white. So here is the card base. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then I took a little bit of that Joy of Christmas pattern paper and put it right here. It's 3/4 by 4 inches. Now, the reason I said I was going to do the inside different, and I could just stamp this sentiment. Let's see, the sentiment looks like this. But it's one of those sentiments that no matter what I do, no matter how I put it on the block, I feel like it stamps a little crooked. I don't know, it's just kind of like, I don't know if it's just me or what, but when I've stamped it, I feel like I'm just feeling like it's going crooked. I don't know if it's because I didn't put the sticker on quite right. Oh, I don't think I did. I think the sticker's a little crooked now that I'm looking at it. Well, guess what? This sentiment, may you have time to enjoy the quiet moments of the season. It fits perfectly. Oh no, did I not bring it over here? Oh shoot. It fits perfectly into the Modern Label punch. I think it's called Modern Label. Oh no, I know I have it because I used it. I used it when I pre-did my card. And I'm not seeing it. It's really not here. So I'm not going to worry about it. Just one of those things that I didn't get onto the table. But I think I did pre-stamp it. So let me just check my supplies. I did. So I'm actually going to show you how this cut out with the Modern Label punch looks like this. I think it's called Modern Label. Honestly, I'm not even sure. I don't know. Maybe it's not Modern Label. Someone will know and let me know. But here it is. May you have time to enjoy the quiet moments of the season. And it worked really good for me when I stamped it on thick basic white scrap paper. And now I can put it in my card. And that way it goes exactly where I want it and it won't be crooked because I felt like I was getting them crooked. So I thought for you guys, I would make sure that it didn't go on crooked. Now, because it is thick basic white, you could use multi-purpose liquid glue on this. I just happened to grab my Stampin' Seal because I had it nice and handy. Another little trick is stamping out your sentiments. When maybe you stamp the first one crooked, then you can take your punch and stamp it out again, put it over the top, and no one will know. Kind of a cool little trick. All right, we've had some more people join us. Thank you, Kimberly, for being here. Julie's here. Judy's here. Wonderful. And some of you are even sharing. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start adding some layers. And as you notice in the card, there's no ribbon wrap, so we don't have to worry about ribbon on the card. So I'm just going to start layering things up. So I've got a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of pecan pie. This is one of the new browns that Stampin' Up introduced. So let me get this out. Oh, I see my punch. Hold on, hold everything. I just spotted it out of the corner of my eye. It's not the Modern Label punch. It's called the Modern Oval punch. See, this is why I put all of the little names on my supplies, because when you've been in Stampin' Up as long as I have, it's really easy. because the names start running together, or at least they do for me. All right, got that all figured out. Hello, Donna. Good to have you here. She's from Pennsylvania joining us. How fun is that? I've heard that the snow is moving east, so don't you guys think you're out of it, because you're probably not. All right, I'm just putting on my pecan pie 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel. I don't know if I said this or not because I was so flubbered by the fact that I couldn't find my punch. Then we're going to go a 1/8 inch in for a 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 inch panel of this really beautiful leaf pattern. And there's some people like the leaves to go down. Some people like the leaves to go up. I like the leaves to go up, so I'm going to put it on that way. So I'm just going to set this on like so. And once again, I can freely do this because there is no ribbon wrap, so that's kind of nice. Just start layering up my card. Then I took a piece of vellum and cut it to the exact same size, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I'm going to put that on my card. Now I have a question for you guys, so I want you to comment. Do you think the snowflakes should be lighter at the top and thicker at the bottom as they accumulate? Or is it like a blizzard where it's thick on top and just starting to accumulate? It's so funny because I always do it this way. But yeah, when I, with the light on the top with the accumulation towards the bottom. But it's so funny because when I go on Instagram or Facebook, I am seeing people do it the opposite way. So then I thought, well, am I doing it wrong? So it's just kind of funny. I always go with the lighter on top and the heavier on the bottom. So I'm curious what you guys think should be done there. So now we don't want any adhesive to show. So when I look at my actual card, I know that I can put the adhesive anywhere on this side because it's going to be underneath a panel. So that's what I'm going to do. I am just going to put my adhesive right here because I know it won't show up, and it's gonna be enough to hold this down, so I'm not worried about it. Philomena says bottom. Yvonne says either way. Kimberly has an opinion. She is saying thick on top. Oh, that's great. Arlene says she's done it both ways. All right. Yeah, I'm a thick on the bottom girl. That's true in more ways than one. Okay, so let's go to the next thing we're going to do, which is layer up this next panel. So I've got it right here. So let me give you the measurements. We've got pecan pie, 2.5 by 4.5. And the next layer is going to be 1/8 inch narrower. So it's 2 3/8 by 4 3/8. And once again, I can just glue that down. So we'll set this on. The nice thing about glue, you can just wiggle that into place, get all your borders nice and even. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. We have the Snowflake Sky embossing folder over the top of this panel of vellum. So I cut the vellum 2 3/8 by 4 3/8. And I embossed it, and this is the way it looks. And once again, I'm going thick on the bottom. And because we're going to have a tree right through the middle, I know that I can basically put adhesive right down the middle and it will not show because there's going to be a tree covering it. So let me get this on here and we'll press this down. There we go. And it looks pretty good. So now we can actually attach this to our front panel. So I'm going to do that with Stampin' Dimensionals. It's a good time for me to check out the comments. Oh, a lot of you have done it both ways, putting your snowflakes sometimes thick at the top and sometimes thick at the bottom. All right, here we go. So we've got all of our dimensionals. Let me get my little fossil dish here so I don't have to go so far. I love stone dishes. I love pottery. I like a lot of nature stuff. So this is so pretty. It reminds me of my dad because he collected stones and was really interested in fossils. So I was always learning from a young age about fossils. Of course, you know, I can't remember the name of anything because I can barely remember the name of Stampin' Up! Products. And it's not like an Alzheimer's thing. It really isn't. It's something I've had my whole life. I don't know if it's kind of like an ADHD thing. You know, I just don't know. I've always had a little bit trouble remembering stuff. But I can get things done. I might not remember things right, but I can sure do stuff. All right, so we've got a piece of scrap because we want to stamp. Oh no, this scrap was for something else. That was going to be for my sentiment that I was going to punch out, but I'm not going to do that because I had pre-punched. So we want a little bit bigger piece of scrap to stamp our owl on, and then we die cut that. So let me take this out. So again, this is basic white. That's thick. You can use the thick basic white for stamping. It works really beautifully. I'll show you. Here's some early espresso ink. And we've got our flying owl. We'll just stamp up here. And then we have our sitting owl. And this just stamped up gorgeously. So, of course, I did Stampin' pre-cut just to save a little time for the video. So let me pull that out. So the flying owl is going to go on our nested treat box. So I'll just set him aside. And then this owl is going to go on the front of our card right here. We also need a warm wishes. Let me get that out. So that is 1/2 inch by 2 3/4 inch. That's the strip that you're going to need to put your warm wishes on. And got my sentiment here. And again, we're using early espresso ink. There it is. I'm going to set that aside to dry a little bit. Yeah, that's all I think we need for the moment. So I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to close up my ink pad. Okay, so I did, let me see. I did go ahead and I pre-cut the tree trunk, but let me show you what I did. So I actually cut these at the same time. Let's see if I can line it up. I had a scrap of the Designer Series paper in the pecan pie color of the wood grain background. And then I had a scrap of the pecan pie. And I put the two together. So I just layered it up like this. And then I took the die that looks like this, set it on here, and I ran it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, both of them at the same time, just to save a little time when I was getting this prepared for you today. So this insert here, I can discard this or save this for another project. So I'm going to set that like off to the side. And then this I'll be using on the front of my card. And then this piece, I'm actually not going to use the tree trunk. I'm not going to use this part on this project, so set that aside. But I do want the little hollow for my owl. I don't want this to be open like this. But I don't want it to be the exact same look as the tree. So I'm going to put a pecan pie insert in there. So to do that, I'm just going to flip that over, and we're going to use a little Scotch tape just to get that on the back. All right. So there's lots of pretty lines in here along with the wood grain lines. It's just really, really beautiful. Then we can go ahead and we can just set this now right onto the front of our card, and we're actually just going to put this down with a little glue. So I'm going to get my glue. Whoops. There we go. And we're going to set this in so it is kind of curving off to the left, but coming down to the center. So the tree is growing a little bit up to the left, but the bottom part is straight. So it'll look like this. I'm not sure why my screen is so dark. I have my window open. I have 2 lights on. I might have to rethink this all. I don't know what's happening. Or else it's just my own eyes, or maybe my computer settings. Who knows? All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to take this little owl and we're going to add a dimensional at the head. And I'm going to do that with a mini dimensional, I think. Or not, if I can't find my minis. Oh, here they are. So I've got my mini dimensional right there. Then I'm going to take my glue and just add a little glue to the bottom to keep the bottom secure. And that also will help me wiggle it into place right where I want it. So I'm going to set it where this little curve here is. I'm assuming that's where his feet would be. So that will be right here. And I'm just going to set him straight up and down. And there he is. So I love how the little head pops up just a speck from that dimensional. It just sort of makes him look like he's doing a quick look around before he jumps into his little cavern. All right, the next thing we're going to do is put the sentiment on. So let me grab that. It looks like this. And once again, we're going to glue, but also add a dimensional. So that one, I think I can just use a regular size dimensional. I'm going to put that in the back right here. Then I'll add my glue across this part. And the reason I'm adding a dimensional to this side is because I want it to be at the same level as this panel right here. So now we're just going to set this in right where you think it looks good. And this card is almost done. So we've got to add our embellishments yet. So I have got the blooming pearls, and we are going to use these green ones. So there's gold, pink, kind of a bluish pecan color, and then sort of a greenish shaded spruce color. So I'm going to take my, take your pick tool. I'm going to take a large one, and we're going to set it right here. And then I'll take a small one and just take that up a little bit over here. Then we'll take one more small one and set it kind of in the crook of the tree. So we only need 3. And let me just hold this up nice and close so you can see where I've put them. That looks really nice, doesn't it? So this is the front of our card, and I love how the vellum just softens up all the leaves and makes it, you know, sort of look like it looks outside my window right now, which is snow covering green grass. So it's kind of that first early snow of the season when the leaves are not quite fallen. And here is the inside panel. All right, we're going to move on to the next project, which is creating a little box, a little treat favor box. And like I said, I don't think I'm going to put the ribbon on. I will do that eventually, but I think you can see from here. So I'm just going to give you the measurements and show you how to put one of these nested boxes together. Because we have our Stampin' Up! Demonstrator meeting on the 9th, and I'm not sure if I'll have enough of this ribbon in time for me to use it on my swap cards if I don't keep these together. All right, we had a big group of swappers this past month. All right, so you are gonna have, when you get your nested treat boxes, which I'm sure a lot of you already are familiar with how this works, but you get two pieces. So one piece is going to be the outside of the box, and then one piece is going to be the insert. Obviously, this is the insert because this is where you put your finger to pull it out of the box. So what I am going to do is grab my bone folder and just get this so that these are a little bit more flexible so I can work with them better. Then I'm going to take off the peely. Oh wait, have I got everything flexed? I do. Just checking to make sure everything is flexed. Good Lord. All right. So just peel off. Okay, this is tricky. I'm gonna take your pick tool. This is so handy, you guys. Use your take your pick tool to get your adhesive off. And I always put the adhesive to the inside of the box so you have a clean look on the outside. There we go. So I am going to put this up, and then I'm going to do one side. This is pretty easy. Just set that in there. And just try to get it all square so it's not in too deep or out too far. And then you can go ahead and press it in. And this is the outside of our box. This is actually the part we're going to be decorating. And then this is the inside of our box. But before I actually put this part together, I want to take one of my pieces of paper and cut out the little finger. So let me grab this because this is a pretty easy project. But let me just show you what we're doing. So we have a 2.5-inch square of the pecan pie wood grain paper. And this is the one that is going to go right here on the front of the box. So I put it on like this. I just hold it into place, I flip it over, and then I grab a pencil, and I'm just going to trace out this little finger cut. And then if you have a punch that's that size, you could go ahead and use it, or just take your scissors and just kind of carefully cut around where that little finger cutout is. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and the reason it doesn't have to be perfect is then you can take your finger and just kind of smooth it. I usually use my fingernail and kind of smooth it all down, and then it will look really nice. All right, so then we're gonna go ahead and we're just to get this out of the way, I am going to attach this. Because this is the only part of the box that actually gets decorated on this inside nested box. So that can just go on there, and then we're ready to put it together. So once again, I'm going to take my take your pick tool to pull off the adhesive. Go all the way around, and then we're going to do the exact same thing with this inside box as we did for our outside box. So once again, I bring these up. I'm just going to set this together, and I'm just trying to make sure that I am following everything at a pretty much a 90-degree angle here. Not trying to put it in, whoops. Oh no! Now we'll see how strong this adhesive is. Pretty strong. Okay, we'll try that again. There we go. And then this side here. It's pretty strong adhesive, guys, so be sure when you're doing this that you are confident where it's going. And then this just fits right in, and you've got your little box. So cute. Then you're also going to need some of these papers because they are going to go on the sides and top of your box. And I'm going to go ahead and right down the middle, I'm putting a little bit of Stampin' Seal, because that ribbon, when I get around to putting the ribbon on this box, that will cover it up if there's any show through. And then I'm just taking vellum paper that's also cut at 2.5 inches square, that's been run through with the Snowflake Sky embossing folder. Just layering that on. Whoops. One more. Boy, that's a sticky one. There we go. I'm gonna trim this one a little bit. I don't know if I put it on wrong or if I cut it just a little bit off, but I had that one panel a little bit too big. So now what you can do is you can just go around and glue these 3 pieces onto your box. So that is what I'm going to do. The 2.5 inches square works perfectly for this box size. Let's see, I have to make sure that, yep, I need to make sure that I'm putting it on so that if there is any adhesive show through the vellum, that my ribbon is going to cover that. So I'm just double checking that. And that looks good. Now let's finish the front of the box. So that's pretty easy. We're going to take a little small piece of, if I can find it, I thought I had it, here we go. It's 1/2 inch by 2.5 inches, just a little piece of thick basic white. We are stamping with love, sending love. And I did pre-stamp this just to speed things up because I knew I would have to let this dry a little bit. So I stamped this right before I went live. Again, I used the early espresso, and that just gets glued right onto the bottom of the box there. It fits in perfectly. So I'm just going to take a little multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're going to glue that on. So fun. Then we're going to take this guy and just put him on. And again, that can be done with dimensionals. And you can use a combination of mini dimensionals and big dimensionals because there's different sizes on him. Then I take a mini dimensional and I scoot that way up here by the tip of that wing, and then another one right in there. All right, and then we're just gonna set this right onto our card. So I want him kind of flying in an upward motion. So he's just gonna go right there. Perfect. All right, then the next thing I'm going to do is add my pearls because we want it to coordinate with our card. So I'm going to take a large pearl in kind of the shaded spruce color here. We're going to tuck this right there, and then a small right up here, and another small, I think, right here. So that is what that looks like. And then you would tie it with ribbon and a bow. So I'm going to set this aside because I just don't have enough of the ribbon to do that. But it would look like this when it's all complete. Isn't that pretty? Thank you guys for all the nice comments. You are so sweet. So let me put out the card that we just made along with the box here. And I appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.